Hey everyone, Giancarlo Veronini here, coming to you from Nintendo's Media Summit. I'm joined by Nate Bildorf, who's going to talk to us a little bit about Metroid Other M, a brand new Metroid game for the Wii. Now Nate, it seems like this game is sort of a culmination of everything we've seen of the Metroid series over the past few years. Can you give us a little more background on the game?
Yeah, that's actually a really good description. I think fans who've been following the series since the beginning are really going to see elements from all the games sort of coming out. As you probably saw in the opening movie, basically starts with a flashback to the end of Super Metroid, which is in itself a reference to the end of Metroid 2, where Samus finds the baby Metroid, et cetera, et cetera. This brings together the best of all Metroid worlds.
And obviously it seems like a big aspect of this game is developing Samus's character. We get a little bit more insight into what she's thinking and sort of what she thinks about events that happened in previous Metroid games.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, the chattiest she's ever been, certainly. I mean, the Metroid games have always been very sort of quiet, lonely games. You know, you got little bursts of story here and there, but by and large it was about, exploration and being by yourself. And there's certainly no lack of that. I mean, when you get into the actual gameplay, you're going to be doing quite a bit of that. But around it is finally, a very, very fleshed out story that encompasses Samus's past, her present, encompasses storylines that I think a lot of the fans have wondered about. The story, I think, is one of the things that's going to keep people just playing hour after hour, not wanting to put the controller down, because it's Samus like we've never seen her.
Let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. As you said, it's sort of a mixture of everything. We have a first-person view, but tell us a little bit about just the way that the basic gameplay mechanics work.
Sure. Well, by and large, when you're navigating the world, you're using the Wii Remote exactly like an NES controller. So you're holding it sideways, you're moving around with the plus control pad, you're jumping and shooting with the 1 and 2 buttons. Feel very familiar, of course, to people who are familiar with the series. And you're moving on 2D and 3D planes, but by and large, there's a lot of sort of very 2D-ish platforming that it feels like as you explore, this derelict ship. Then, of course, the big kicker is that any time you can point at the screen and all of a sudden you're in your first-person view. And not only can you blast enemies if you want to, but you can also just look around. And for me, it's such a perfect fit for the Metroid franchise because so much of it is about retraversing areas that you've been to before and trying to find a way out, trying to find a new path.
And all these things sort of seem to kind of come together in the boss battles in the game as well.
Yeah, you probably noticed that most of the rest of the time, if you want to go into first-person view, you can kind of take your time at it and look around, and it's all leisurely. You don't really have that luxury when you're in the boss battles.
Can you give us, I know not revealing too much about the game today, but can you give us a sense of the scale? Will it be similar to previous Metroid games?
I think you can expect it to be of pretty sweeping scope, especially when you consider how the storyline is really, really in-depth. You're having all that sandwiched around all the Metroid gameplay that we know and love, of upgrading abilities and retraversing areas. I think you can expect it to be as big as your favorite games.
Excellent. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. And stick with the GameSpot.com for more coverage of Nintendo's Media Summit.